In today's video, we are talking about those times when life doesn't go the way we planned and how we have to trust the story anyway. It's not always fun. It's not always easy. In fact, most times it's hard and it's difficult. But it's the work of growing, it's the work of evolving, and it's the work of becoming better versions of ourselves. So let's do this. Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Show Up with Gentry. I'm Gentry, and this is the space where we figure out how to show up for life together. Life is unpredictable. Life is basically just chaos taking order. It's all these disconnected dots all over the place that we somehow draw a line between and connect and make some sort of order out of the chaos. Your life is your story, and your story has this present moment, and then it has the future, and it has the past. When you look back, you can see all the dots, right? You see all these dots and you see how they're all connected. Okay, but then when you look forward, you just see all the dots. And the dots all just seem kind of chaotic, and you still don't really know how they're all connecting. You haven't yet been able to make order out of the chaos. It's just a lot of dots. It's kind of like the stars in the night sky. They seem like there's no order to them. They seem like they don't really make sense. There's no patterns. They're just all these random stars in the sky. And it wasn't until an astrologer looked up to the skies and started to make order out of them, started to find the patterns, started to see this isn't chaotic. There's actually some order here. There's actually some pattern here. And they created the constellations. The constellations they're kind of beautiful, right? They're these images drawn out of the stars in the sky. But someone had to do that. Someone had to look at that chaos and figure out how to turn it into something beautiful. So if you're looking back at your life, you're in your present moment, you're looking at your past, you see all these dots, which are kind of like the stars. You're seeing how they're all connected. Maybe that's as far as you've ever taken it. You've only ever seen how everything has connected. You haven't learned to identify something greater out of them. We don't know to look up to the night sky and look for Orion's belt until someone teaches us to do that. So sometimes we're looking back and we see how everything's connected, but it still feels chaotic. Or we're looking back and the way that things have connected haven't been the way that we wanted. And so we're looking to the future and we're seeing all the chaos in the dots that aren't even connected yet, and we're panicked. Because when we look back, things haven't worked out the way we wanted. Things didn't go the way we planned. And so we're worried that that's how the future's going to go. When things don't go the way you want, it's hard to think they'll go the way you want in the future. For 3 years, my wife and I have been trying to start our family. It's been 3 years of looking back and seeing how things have connected, but it hasn't gone the way we wanted. And looking forward and just not knowing how things are going to connect or how they're going to work out in the way that we wanted. For many people, starting a family isn't as complicated as it has been for my wife and I, or for all of the couples who experience infertility. We eventually went to a doctor, an infertility specialist. The word itself, I hate infertility. It's like admitting that something is wrong. But we went to the specialist and ran all the tests, and our diagnosis, unexplained infertility, which is the least helpful diagnosis, because if you don't know what's broken, you can't fix it, and so you try to fix everything. For 3 years, we have held out hope, month after month after month. We have had to muster the courage to start this process all over again. Every month, our hope has been crushed over and over and over again. Manufacturing hope over and over and over again takes its toll. Expensive procedures over and over and over again take their toll. Insensitive comments from people over and over and over again take their toll. Watching other people's families grow around us takes its toll. This isn't pretty, you guys. This is just honest. When life doesn't go the way we planned, it doesn't typically bring out the best in people. It tends to bring out all of the ugliness and the parts of us that we don't want other people to see. When your story doesn't go the way you plan it, it beats you down a little bit. It hardens you sometimes. We become bitter, we become angry, we become cynical. That's what happened to me. I mean, those are 3 words that I would never use to describe myself, but lately they kind of fit the bill. You know, you may have your own ugliness that kind of comes up. At a fundamental level, there's nothing wrong with experiencing all of those negative emotions. And the challenge is that sometimes we end up getting stuck there. Rather than moving beyond those things in time and appropriately, we let it become part of who we are, becomes a version of ourselves that we grow into. I was becoming a bitter, angry, cynical person. We think it's easier to stay there, so we do. But any time that things aren't going the way you want, it's an opportunity for growth. It's an opportunity for self-evolution. It's an opportunity for all of that ugliness to rise up to a place where you have to deal with it. And I don't know, I can't speak for you, but I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be angry and bitter and cynical all the time. I want to grow beyond it. And I would hope because you're watching this, that you would want to grow beyond whatever stirs within you, whatever ugliness comes up within you when things don't go your way. Our story hasn't gone the way we've planned. And maybe your story hasn't gone the way you've planned. Maybe looking forward is paralyzing, because when you look back and you see all those dots, and even though they're all connected, they didn't connect the way you planned. They didn't connect the way you wanted. And that's terrifying. I used to say, and I often heard, that when you look back at your life, you'll see how everything connects. Hindsight is 20/20. You'll see how everything that's happened has connected to bring you to where you are. And it's true, but it's only a half-truth. It's a half-truth because people say those things with this underlying implied level of optimism. But when you're experiencing things that aren't going the way you want, you're usually not experiencing optimism. Just saying. That phrase, everything works out, it's like saying that hindsight automatically equals peace. It doesn't automatically equal peace. The truth is, until you can look back and see the good in the way that everything connected, until you can look back and choose to see how everything has connected and turned into some really great constellation, until you choose that for yourself, you will stay stuck in whatever ugliness is in you. For me, it would be, I will stay stuck as an angry, bitter, cynical person. Hindsight is not instant peace. You have to do the work of changing your past into something that is beautiful. You have to turn the parts of your story that you've already lived into something worthwhile. If you don't do that, you're going to relive the same story over and over and over again. And things are just never going to go the way you planned. And you're never going to get to this place where you can trust the story that you're living. Until astrologers looked at the chaotic night sky and found the patterns, it remained a mystery. But as soon as they could see how things connected, as soon as some of that unknown became known, then they could use it and learn from it and understand things moving forward that they didn't understand up to that point. And it's the exact same thing for your story. Until you can look back and see the patterns, see how everything has connected in a very specific way, and turn all of that into something helpful so that you can take that then and apply it to your future. You have to do this. You have to do the work. Personal growth happens when you're willing to see what's always been there and turn it into something helpful. And that begs the question, if you can then look back and find the order and the chaos and turn all of that into something helpful and give it meaning that is helpful, if you're doing that now, doesn't that mean that you can do that in the future? And if you can do that in the future, doesn't that mean you can do it now? What do I mean? If you're going to look back 10 years from now and you're going to choose to find how all of the dots in your life that you haven't lived yet, this is your future, these are all the dots, you haven't lived this, but in 10 years you're going to look back between where you are now and where you are then, and you're going to see how everything connected, and it's going to give you meaning and hope and peace and purpose. If you can have all that meaning and hope and peace and purpose 10 years from now, can't you have that right now before you live all of that? Can't you go into this 10 years with that peace and that purpose and that hope? Yes. The answer is yes. The answer is yes. If you can have it in the future, then you can have it now. And do you know how I know you'll have it in the future? Because you can look back now and do that for where you were 10 years ago. You can look back at the past 10 years and find the ways that it all connected and give it meaning that is helpful. So you're doing that now, and you're going to do it in the future, which is going to make you feel peaceful and purposeful and hopeful. So then just take all that peace and purpose and hope that you're waiting to live the next 10 years to get to and just bring it into the now. When you look back and you give something meaning, you're trusting the story that you've already lived. You're showing yourself that you can trust the story you're living. My wife and I, we will grow our family someday. I will look back and I will see how all of the dots in my life have connected. And I will be able to create some incredible constellation out of them because I do trust the story that I'm living. And so what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to encourage you to do is don't wait to look back and retroactively apply the peace and the meaning and the joy and the hope to what you've lived. Preemptively apply those things because you're going to live it one way or another. You're going to go through everything you're going to go through, but you do get to decide how you go through it. And what I want you to see is if after you've gone through everything, you can look back and you can see the good and find the meaning and turn what was chaos into something helpful. I'm telling you, you can do it as you walk through the hard things that come in your life. Trusting the story is this incredible act of faith. It doesn't mean you're not going to get bruised or hurt or beaten down. It doesn't mean that because you're choosing to apply meaning and finding good in the hard times moving forward, that the hard times don't come. I think trusting the story is about getting back up. And although you can't maybe in the moment see how your dots are connecting, trusting that they are. But there are also things that trusting the story are not. Trusting the story is not pretending everything is okay. It's not pretending everything is fine. It truly is about acknowledging the hard things exist and making space for them. But then choosing that something beautiful will come out of those hard times. Choosing that when all of your dots do connect, it's turned into a really incredible constellation. Trusting the story is also not an excuse to shut down or to abandon your life or to hide. It's actually the opposite. We don't shut down anymore because we know that what appears chaotic is actually just chaos coming into order. You can't choose to apply meaning to something. You can't choose to see the good in something. You can't trust a story if you're not present, if you're not in the story, if you're hiding from the story, or you're abandoning the story, or you're shutting down. You just can't. Trusting the story is saying, yes, this is happening. I accept that this is happening, but I'm also choosing to grow and to evolve as a human because this is happening. You want to be better because of what's happening, not worse. I'm learning how to do this. I'm learning how to trust the story in my own life. I am trying to look back and to see how all the things in my life have connected and find the beautiful constellations within that. And some days it's easy and some days it's hard. Some days I'm better at it than others. It's not a once and done thing. We have to keep finding the meaning, keep finding the good. And on the days when our hope is crushed, those are the hard days. Those are the hard days to look back and see anything good. But it's still there. And I'm still trying. I'm trying to see how my wife and I's journey with starting our family has brought us closer together, has made us stronger, has made us more resilient. And those are all things that I can take into my future. Life does not always go the way we planned. But I think that we have to learn to trust the story anyway. Okay, my friends, I hope that you can look back, and I hope that you can start to see the ways that your life, all the dots in your life have connected. And you can start to find the constellations within that. And you can turn those things into things that are helpful and that equip you to handle the hard times in the future even better than you have in the past. Because you know what? Life is happening whether it goes the way we plan or want. And we have to show up anyway. So let's show up, let's grow, let's evolve, and let's trust the story. Friends, if you liked this, do me a favor, subscribe and share this video and give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Because I am on a mission. I'm on a mission to create this community of people who want to show up for our lives, grow as humans, so we can propel humanity forward. That's what we're doing. When you share, when you like, when you subscribe, you help this message get out to more people. Keep an open mind, open hands, open heart, and as always, stay curious.